Welcome back to another super exciting episode of Southern Sorcery. We're back at it again with our deck techs. This time we're diving into the newest precons for Edge of Eternities. That's right, we're giving these away. We've got two deck techs. They've got two commander precons this time around. We're going to talk about the World Shaper one today. This is all about your graveyard and lands. And this deck, right out of the box, is great. Again, just shout out to Wizards. I've had a very hard time making cuts and additions just because everything is so good and synergetic. They've done a very good job focusing on that so everyone can compete with the precon right off the shelf. Just sleeve it up and you're good to go. Last we did still make some additions here that I think that have made the deck better. I've play tested it a couple times. I'm a huge fan of some of the new cards they've added. Just the synergies and also the flavor, just being in space and exploring, and like how they've added like the planets and the vehicles and the spacecrafts. Like I think it's just like it's going to be great. And hey, it's Wizards, it's Magic, it's our own lore. We're back, baby. I think Universes Beyond has maybe fatigued some people. I love the different IPs that get added in, but like at the end of the day, we've started playing Magic for Magic, and so it's nice to kind of get back to those roots and then just have the lore kind of progress, the story behind it. So not to say I don't love Universes Beyond. Don't get me wrong. The new Sonic set's got me jazzed because I want to play some Sonic and Knuckles for sure. But I just want to give a big shout out to our patrons right now. Before we dive in, we're doing a special. We're giving away a $1 Lord of the Rings set booster packs. So go check that out if you're interested. All the details will be on the screen here. All the patrons will be on the screen, so give them a shout out. A lot of love for those folks. They keep the lights on. But thank you so much. If you're not subscribed, please like and subscribe. And if you are interested in competing in this deck tech to win it, because we're giving it away for free, all you got to do is comment on the video. Something thoughtful, something you like, maybe something you would have added or changed about the deck. And that'll get you an entry, and we will ship it to you no matter where you are in this big, beautiful world. We'll get into it. So enough yapping from Shane. Let's just talk about the deck itself. Let's dive in. Like I said, this deck is called the World Shaper. We're in space, the final frontier. Any Star Trek fans out there, that's what Captain Picard always said, space, the final frontier. The commander is Sazerael. This is the Genesis Shepherd. 2, a black, a red, and a green. For an insect druid, that is a 2/5. With flying, and it says you may play lands from your graveyard, which is great to have that in your commander because you're going to want to do that a lot in this deck. And then whenever you sacrifice another non-token permanent during your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Sazerael's power on up to one other target creature, which is pretty cool. I think definitely another way to build this deck would be build a version where you make Sazerael like big, with counters or with like equipment or whatever the case may be, so that way you can kind of share the wealth anytime you sacrifice a non-token permanent, because it doesn't have to be a land, even though this is kind of what the deck leans towards. It just has to be a non-token permanent that you sacrifice, so that's pretty unique. I like that a lot. The secondary commander is a spacecraft. This is a brand new creature type, or artifact type, I should say. In the game of Magic, it has a new mechanic called Station with it as well. I love it. I think it's really cool, the fact that you can like run this as your commander, and it's legit like a giant spaceship. Like if you ever wanted to be, on the Enterprise, you've got the ability to do that now. This is Hearthhold the World Seed. And so Station says this: you tap another creature you control, put charge counters on it equal to its power on this spacecraft station, only as a sorcery, and it's an artifact creature once it gets to 8+. So it has 2 station like parts that it has. One is 2+, so 2 and up. You pay 1 and tap it to sacrifice a land to draw 2 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. Very good mechanic. Fits right into what we're trying to do with the deck. And then once it becomes a creature at 8+, it has flying, vigilance, and haste, which are all fantastic. And then whenever you sacrifice a land, each opponent loses 2 life. So that's a way to really expedite the game. You'll notice that we have that theme spread out, like built into the deck, and then some of the additions that I did also kind of reiterate this theme as well. And it's a 6/7 that can fly with vigilance. I mean, it can bash face. Like it's great. I love it. Let's spacecraft it up. Let's go to war. Let's fire the cannons. Let's put the shields up. Let's go. I'm really excited about it. If you can't tell, I'm happy we're back into a Magic universe again. It just makes me happy. But next, let's talk about the new cards. So these cards are going to be new and specific to Edge of Eternities in the precons, the Commander precons. These are the cards we do not cut when we do our budget upgrades, and we also keep ourselves to a $50 limit. I went well below that. I think I went like $8 on this one, so this is truly a budget upgrade for sure. The first new card I want to talk about is Baloth Prime. This is a gigantic beast from the artwork. I love how it looks. It's super cool. For 3 and a green, this says this creature enters tapped with 6 stun counters on it. So instead of it untapping, it would remove a stun counter until all those stun counters are gone, then it can truly untap. But it's kind of built in a way to make this process a little faster. So it says whenever you sacrifice a land, create a tap 4/4 green beast creature token and untap this creature. So it's going to try to untap, see the stun counter, and fall off. On your upkeep, it's going to do the same thing. Untap, step, it's going to see it and fall off. And then it has the thing that you need to sacrifice on it to kind of, it's just redundant. I love it. It's called synergy. You pay 4, sacrifice a land, you gain 2 life. When you do that, it says whenever you sacrifice a land, create a tap 4/4. So like if you got the mana, which you will, because this is a lands matter deck and there's tons of lands in it. I mean, when I play tested this card, it became a 10/10 that I could play around with real fast. And it just generated a ton of 4/4 tokens. It is a shame they come in tapped, but it's okay because like if you get one more turn with them, you've got an army of 4/4s, which is always nice. So great. I love this card a lot. The next one, we have a really cool land, probably the best new land they've added into this precon. Amudian Hatchery. This is a new land. Like I said, you tap and pay 1 life to add a black tree mana pool, and you put a hatchling counter on this land. When this land is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, for each hatchling counter on it, you get to make a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. The fact that you can like sacrifice lands like crazy in this deck and having this ability, if you get this land out early, like it's going to pay massive dividends. You're going to sacrifice it at the end of someone's turn. On your upkeep, you might have like 60 1/1 flying insects. Like this land is so good. I can't wait to see like what other decks it makes its way into and how it just gets like absolutely abused. Just a great card. After that, we've got Amudian Waste Waker. This is another insect cleric for 2 and 2 black for a 4/4. This one says whenever this creature attacks, you and the defending player each discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. You draw a card for each land card you put into a graveyard this way. So you could literally choose like your lands, you don't care because you've got tons of abilities to play them from the graveyard, but they don't. So this is a card that's really going to help like expedite the game in your favor in your board state. So another cool card. It's an insect too, so it's a very insect themed type deck. After that, we've got Evendo Bush Razor. This is a great card. I love it because it's another one of those cards that has a ton of synergy that kind of helps itself out. For 2 and a red, Insect Warrior, that's a 2/2, says whenever you sacrifice a non-token permanent, exile the top card of your library. During your turn, as long as you sacrifice a number of permanents this turn, you may play cards exiled with this creature. So it has that built-in way of playing stuff off of the stuff you sacrifice. And how do you sacrifice? Well, it has it there. In its last little bit of text, you can tap this land to add 2 red. So whenever you sacrifice land to add 2 red, since you sacrifice something, it exiles, and now you have a chance to play it. It's just super synergistic. And for 3 mana, it's just a great card. Plus the fact that when you sacrifice a land, you're netting 2 red. So you're kind of going mana positive in that aspect since the land can only tap for 1 mana. And again, you can play so many lands from your graveyard that it's just like, it's just too good. The value engine is just buzzing right now. Next to that, we've got our next spacecraft. This is Exploration Brood Ship, and it has station just like the other one did, and this one has a 3+ and an 8+. At 3+, you may play an additional land on each of your turns, which is great. We have a lot of that, a lot of redundancy in that. And then at 8+, it has flying. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a permanent spell from your graveyard, sacrificing a land in addition to paying its other costs. So having that recursion, and all you gotta do is just sacrifice a land in addition to whatever its mana cost is. Super easy to do. Again, you can get that land back once you sacrifice it. It goes to the yard. I mean, it's just good. Super synergistic. I love it. I love the spacecraft mechanics. I think it's so fun. I think it may be even more fun than vehicles. Vehicles are good in like their own respect, but like the spacecraft mechanics, I really dig. I'm here for it. After that, we have the Festering Thicket. This is the next land. This is fetchable for any type of thing because it has, I mean, it's fetchable anyway, but it has like an actual land type of swamp or forest. So anything that says go get a swamp, go get a forest, you can kind of tandem that together and go fetch for this land. It does enter the battlefield tap, but it also has cycling. You know, normally for me, I'm not a big fan of the tap lands just because they're slow, but when you're running a deck like this where lands matter and you're just looking for the land to enter, whether it's tapped or untapped, stuff like this really goes a long way. And the cycling's good because like late game, pay the 2 and draw a card and see what you can dig into. I like it. After that, we've got the Horizon Explorer. This card is really fun because it makes those lands that do enter tap not enter tapped. In green, we got an Insect Scout that says lands you control enter untapped, which is awesome in a deck that runs a couple lands that do enter tapped. So if you have this guy out and you're searching for a lot of things that bring in tap lands, he says, no, they're untapped. You're like, thanks, little Insect Scout. I appreciate that. And then whenever you attack, this has even more. You create a new token called a Lander token. And lander tokens are new to this set, and they are tokens that have, you pay 2 and tap sacrifice them. And once you do, you search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So like it says tapped, but he says untapped. So like he's got that synergy built in. There's so much synergy built into this deck with these cards. It's great. I love it. Just good job whoever built this deck. After that, we've got the new like kind of a board, more like a control piece, like I guess it's like a board wipe in a way. Planetary Annihilation for 3 and 2 red. It's a sorcery that says each player chooses 6 lands they control, then sacrifices the rest. Planetary Annihilation deals 6 damage to each creature. So it does do a probably pretty decent job of wiping stuff out and probably setting some people back, like as far as like the lands they have, because you can rebound much faster than that because you have so many ways to play lands out of your graveyard and play additional lands. That this could give you a massive like board state versus your opponents. So a pretty cool card to add in here. After that, we got probably one of the cards I'm most excited for is to see if like it can be on the same level as Scoop Swarm. If this is a new version of Scoop Swarm-esque, like it's definitely in that same wheelhouse. For 1 a black and a green, you've got Scouring Swarm, even in the name. It's an insect with flying. It says whenever you sacrifice a land, create a tap token that's a copy of this creature if 7 or more land cards are in your graveyard. If not, you just make a generic 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. But the cool thing is they all have flying, and it has that same Scoop Swarm effect where you're making copies of it, so those copies will trigger just like... So once you get to 7 lands in your yard with this card out, and you're able to sacrifice lands, like that's pretty good. You know, I definitely added Zern Orb to this deck, so like that gives you the ability, like tons of sacrifice mechanics. So I give Scoop Swarm the nod just out of the gate, is because landfall, like playing lands, is probably a little easier than sacrificing lands, but maybe not. Maybe, you know, I just haven't played the right like type of like sack deck where that becomes easy. So this card, I'm very interested to see like how it gets busted and if it is on the same level or maybe even better than Scoop Swarm. So let me know your thoughts on that, just to see if that's going to be a viable option for different like decks, like token decks or lands matter decks. And then lastly, the newest card we want to talk about is another land. This is Infernal Fen. This is a swamp forest, so it counts as each in its type. And then this land enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. I like this set, but because like, let's say you're going to fetch for a land. Normally you go get a shock land, and it's going to cost you 2 life for that to come into the battlefield untapped. But this just cares if you've got 2 or more basics. So like in certain situations, you can definitely pivot and go get this and save yourself the life because it's still fetchable with the swamp forest subtype in the land. So again, I really think they did a good job with the land cycle in some of these builds as well. So that's it. Those are the news cards we want to talk about. Pivoting from there, let's talk about some subtractions and additions we've got. Some of the subtractions we've got, like I said, they were just a little difficult to do. We ended up doing 7. We cut 7 cards, added 7 cards. I feel like that was a pretty good amount. I did lie. I think I said $8. I forgot that I added Azusa and she's like 10. So we'll say it's $18 is what I essentially put into this deck to change it. Still pretty budget friendly. $18 isn't going to break the bank, hopefully. But yeah, speaking of Azusa, that was the first ad that I had. I cut a Centaur Vine Crasher. Not a terrible card. I just thought Azusa was better just because she can, you know, give you multiple landfalls. This is 2 and a green. If you ever play a landfall deck, you probably run her or have seen her. She's a legendary human monk, and you may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns, which is very important. I think she's great. She probably slides into at least any landfall deck, really, just because of that mechanic alone. You want to see multiple land drops. For that, we added Intis Restoration, one of the sneaky good, just uncommons out of Lord of the Rings. And this is 2 and a green for an instant that says sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. But if you have a creature with power 4 or greater, you do the exact same thing with 3 lands. So another way to like either to speed the game up, like for you and your land count early, or to have multiple landfall triggers as you're going through and trying to find lands. So it's $3 to $4 for a reason as an uncommon out of Lord of the Rings because it gets a lot of play. It's a good card. For that, we did Escape to the Wilds. This one does give you the chance to play an initial land on the turn and dig for stuff, but just for 5 mana, I thought there was better stuff out there. After that, we added another fun card I liked, Iridescent Vine Lasher. This is from Bloomburrow. I love the offspring mechanic because they did a really good job of putting it on creatures that have like enter the battlefield or like type of stuff that wants to like, you know, see different things happen. So it's like, oh, I like that mechanic a lot. It's like, if you like it a lot, just play the offspring cost and you get 2 of them that do the same thing. So like, that's really fun to me. This is 1 black mana with offspring for 2. And all that means is you may pay an additional 2 mana as you cast this spell. If you do, you make a creature token copy of the creature. It's just a 1/1 instead of whatever. In this case, it's a 1/2. So essentially for 3 mana, you get 2 of these, and they both would say landfall. So whenever land enters, whenever land you control enters there, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. So, I mean, to me, that just helps speeds up the game. There's a lot of this like pre-built into the deck. The secondary commander already has it. Once you like station up to 8, it does 2 damage to each opponent. You'll see some of the ads I made. This can become like basically a win con for you if you have the right pieces out. Anytime a land comes out, you can potentially do like up to 6 damage a land, which can really speed up the game quite fast. To cut that, we did get rid of Formless Genesis. This was the only Kindred spell in the deck. And, you know, I get it why it's in the deck, because it matters like how many lands to make the XX creature with that touch, and it has Retrace. But I just didn't know why they wanted to add a Kindred spell. Other than that, I was looking to see if like it mattered like what types of cards in your graveyard. I didn't really see anything offhand. But let me know in the comments if I'm just like blatantly missing something for Formless Genesis here. But we took out the Formless Genesis for that. And the next card we added is probably just an MVP. If you have access to red and you're playing a deck that where lands matter in some form or fashion, this card should be in that deck, and that's Nahiri's Lithoforming. This is an X spell for X and 2 red. You sacrifice X lands, so if you pay 7 mana, that would be X would be 5, and your other 2 would be your red pips. So in that case, you'd be sacrificing 5 lands. For each land sacrifice this way, draw a card, and then you may pay X additional land cards this turn. So if you have 5 lands in your hand and X was 5, you get to drop those. They do enter tap, but however, if you have our boy from earlier, our Horizon Explorer, they would come in untapped. So just again, another reason that he's sneaky good. Nahiri's Lithoforming, just a great card. It almost pays for itself on the X if you have the lands to kind of like substitute for the ones you sacrificed. If you're looking for sacrifice triggers, that's a huge sacrifice trigger right there. So just a great card. It's only 50 cents, like 30 cents, like just a bulk rare that can slide in really well if you have access to red. So if you don't have it in your land deck, check it out. See what you want to do with it. Play test with it. To cut that, we did get rid of Groundskeeper. A good way to recur lands, but I thought Lithoforming was just way better as far as value goes. Following that, we've got 1 card new from the Final Fantasy set. This is Sabotender. This is a plant, and it has a landfall ability that just falls in line with what we're trying to do. So 1 red, 1 in a red to play a 2/1 plant with reach, so it can block flyers. And then landfall, whatever land you control enters, this creature does 1 damage to each opponent, which is great. So just like I said, another way to speed up the game. Speaking of that, same mechanic. This is a new card, not specific to the precon, but new to the set of Edge of Eternities. This is Tanuk, Memorial Inside. He is a Kavu pilot. They're just super jacked. They got 4 arms. They're like huge. Like they remind me of that dude from Green Lantern. Oh, what's his name? The guy who trains Hal. Killabong? That was Killabong, something like that. Let me know in the comments what his name was. But he's just like super jacked, has the tusks. Super cool. Anyway, this is a Kavu pilot. You pay 1 red and a green for a 2/4 with the landfall. The landfall here. This is an uncommon, mind you. Let me just preface that. Whenever a land you control enters, Tanuk deals 1 damage to each opponent. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card. Like, just so much value. If you want to call it power creep, call it whatever you want to. Like, the value engine is just built in right into this card. It's so good out of the gate. To cut that, we did get rid of Terra Sunder. I thought there was enough removal to where I felt comfortable removing 1 piece without adding another. You know, plus it has a kicker cost. Could be like up to 4 mana. You know, I think this Tanuk card just is too good not to put it into this specific deck. After that, we added another sneaky good MVP, is Zurin Orb. I talked about it earlier. It's a 0-drop artifact that just says sacrifice a land, you gain 2 life. So it's a free sack outlet for your lands where you have a ton of different payoffs for sacrificing lands, and the life gains there. So if you're getting targeted, it gets you a lot of life really quick. And the fact that you can play the land back out of the graveyard, too good not to add. And the last thing we took out for that was World Breaker. It is the Eldrazi in the deck, and you can't bring it back, and it has like an ETB effect of exiling, but it's also 7 mana. I just thought Zurin Orb was way better. I don't mind World Breaker. It's a pretty good card in terms of like what you're trying to do here. And mana's not really like, you know, that scarce in this deck, so I can definitely see people want to like keep it around for what it does. But that's it. That's the 7 cuts and the 7 additions I did. Like I said, I mean, I kept it almost below, I think right below $20, right at $20 this time. So it's pretty budget friendly. I think this deck, like I said, is really good out of the box. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like I said, just comment on the video with a thoughtful comment, maybe about what you would have added or taken away. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and make sure you have your notifications turned on so that when we reach out how we announce the winners. We just comment and pin the winning comment on the video, and then we just reach out with our email so we can verify everything and get it shipped out to you. We ship for free. You don't have to pay a dime. You'll just be happy one day that it shows up on your doorstep. And we'll ship anywhere in the world. We're world friendly here. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you're not already liked and subscribed, like our videos, subscribe to the channel. Go check out our other socials. Come join the Discord so we can chat and play some games. But until then, we'll talk to you in the next video. Go make good choices. Go have fun. The summer's still going strong. Go swimming. The heat's crazy in some places. Yeah, make good choices. All that good stuff. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.